Welcome to my book library. We're going to do a book library tour. Going to be a longer video, going to be well worth your time learning some of the most powerful books in history, some of my top picks from other influential people's top picks, way more influential than me, of the books that you should read, whether it is business, whether it is biography, whether it is psychology, social habit, etc. Now, this was requested via Snapchat by either Volbox or Harvey. If you're not following me on Snapchat, if you're not on Snapchat, get on there, because we're having great conversations on there. So, this is going to be like a 20-30 minute video. I'm going to go through every book in my library. Before I start, these are the books that I'm reading in 2016 so far, and the end of 2015. I had another, it was about 150 books. I had another 50 to 100 books that I left in California because I couldn't take everything with me. And those were mostly historical books that I left behind. The Bhagavad Gita, the Old Testament, the Gilgamesh, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, stuff like that. Galileo, I couldn't take all with me, so I also recommend those, but let's start. I'm going to start with biographies, and we're going to kind of move through with the theme. First of all, I love this book, Power of Broke by Daymond John. Power of Broke by Daymond John, really good book, biographies, and business. Elon Musk, by Ashley Vance, one of the most important living biographies today. Sam Walton, hugely influential man, worth reading. Jeff Bezos, definitely into business people. Arnold Schwarzenegger, very good. Mark Cuban is definitely a business theme. Think and Grow Rich, Depression era book. This looks innocuous, most powerful book on the shelf. Think and Grow Rich is must read, extremely influential. How to Win Friends and Influence People, also very high on the list, Dale Carnegie. The Art of War by Sun Tzu, good book, slightly overrated actually. It's not that easy to apply. Similarly, The Prince, overrated. It's not as good as Robert Greene, which we'll get into in a minute, but good historical books that are worth reading. Managing Oneself, Peter Drucker, short, worth it, $5, get it. Now, Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, highly recommend over Niccolo Machiavelli, think it's better. History will remember him better. Also Robert Greene, The Art of Seduction. I highly recommend getting the concise versions, so bite-sized. The Art of Seduction is the best presented book of all the books ever in history. The way it's presented. It has like the shapes of the words and the quotes on the sides and the symbols. The way the text is presented is awesome. I also have El Arte de Seducción in Spanish because if you have two books that are the exact same but one is in a different language, it's a great way to learn the language. Patrick Lencioni, Getting Naked, good book on coaching, or it's a good book on business, on relationships, on being authentic, being your true self. The Prosperous Coach, good book on coaching. It's a good book on how to not coach people as well. You've got Bounce, very good book on success. Relentless, Tim Grover, also insanely good book on success. He trained Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. James Altucher, Choose Yourself, really good, prescient book on the future and why you need to choose yourself now. Artist Entrepreneur. The One Thing, great book, focus on one thing at a time. A Little Learning is a Dangerous Thing. This is a fun one. It's about little witty quotes on learning and education. The Happy Introvert, kind of random. My mom sent this to me. I gave the book away, but instead I recommend Quiet by Susan Cain. Really powerful book. Richest Man in Babylon. I would probably recommend Richard Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad over this, although this one's a good read. I actually don't recommend this book that much. It's okay, although widely popular. Communist Manifesto, historical, it's short read, it's worth it. Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler, people will tell you not to read this book, but it's one of the best-selling books of all time, of all human history, and you don't need to read the whole thing, but don't always read what you believe, don't always believe what you read, and a lot of this is very hateful and angry, but some of it is fucking brilliant, whether you have an evil or a good organization. There's a lot in this about how to build a successful organization. Lessons of History by Will Durant. Will Durant is the best historian, extremely entertaining. Recommend him. Will Durant, Greatest Minds and Ideas, makes history cool. Top 10 lists of the best poets and the best philosophers and the best ideas. Highly recommend Will Durant. Power of Habit, great book on destroying habits, changing habits, how habit works. Under the Influence, best book on what alcoholism is. Drunks, Drugs, and Debit, good book on how to avoid and separate yourself from drug users and alcoholics so you don't get fucked up financially. Howell and Winkleman, Stone and Winkleman, these books are good. Embracing Ourselves and Embracing Your Inner Critic. If you have problems where you're mean to yourself in your brain, it's good. Dynamic Law of Prosperity, I recommend Think and Grow Rich instead of this. Power is Within You, this is a good one. And I'll pull out The Secret too, because it's similar to this. The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, really powerful book, really famous, highly recommend it. Don't treat this as gospel, but there's some great ideas in here. Moving on, more to social stuff. Tribal Leadership, good book on, really it's about corporate leadership, but still good. Social by Matthew Lieberman, really good stuff in here, but hard to read this book because it's just text. There's no headers, very little headers, so I didn't get as much from this as I thought I would. Difficult Conversations. Do you have how to handle difficult conversations? Very good. Bestseller, very good. Mindset, Carol Dweck, extremely famous book. Carol Dweck, super famous. Growth Mindset versus Fixed Mindset, highly recommend. Influence, Robert Cialdini, very famous book, extremely good on psychology, how to be influential. This is a good combo with The Art of Seduction and 48 Laws of Power. The New Psycho-Cybernetics, very interesting. Plastic surgeon / psychologist, reconstructive facial surgeon and psychologist on perception and reality and psychology. Really good. This book was destroyed by dogs, but Reading with the Right Brain, this is the best book I found on reading, actually. Highly recommend it. Make It Stick is the best book I found on learning and memory, the science of successful learning. Most of these books aren't scientific. How We Learn is pretty good. I'm going to skip some of these speed reading books because they're not that good. Some of them are dumb. Moonwalking with Einstein, a good story about memory, but yeah, this is a good one. This is something you should probably skim, or you'll just sink too much time into the story in there. It's entertaining, however. How to Read a Book, really famous, second best book I found on reading. Arguably better than Reading with the Right Brain, but I had a breakthrough when I was reading with the Right Brain. Got some other books in here. Goal-Free Living. I don't necessarily agree with this, but you always want to read books that have contrasting opinion. This book is about why you should use a compass instead of a map. .com Secrets. This book is sick. If you're an online business person, highly recommend. Moving into marketing. Seth Godin, Purple Cow. Be a purple cow. Wear purple pants. Stand out. Marketing outrageously. Same idea. Purple pants, baby. Be outrageous. Power of the Subconscious Mind. Nah. Unconscious Marketing. Fairly good book. Incomplete, but good. Cal Newport, So Good They Can't Ignore You. Why You Shouldn't Follow Your Passion. Highly recommend this one. Millionaire Fastlane. Maybe my #1 business book. The truth about how to build a business that scales. Really fucking good book. 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, really good. How to Dream 10 Times Higher. Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, one of the best sales books I've found. And make no mistake, you're a salesman, you have to be. Secrets of Question-Based Selling, another fairly good sales book, but not quite as powerful. Ask by Ryan Levesque, Very good, works well with .com secrets, works well with question-based selling. It's about online business. Good story in here as well. The Innovator's Hypothesis, highly recommend. This is how innovation actually happens, is through repetitive experiments. Jab, jab, right hook, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're watching this in 2015, this is timely. If it's even 2016, 2017, then this is lagging behind, because this book is all about social media and how to use it, but it evolves so fast. I still recommend it, but get Gary Vee's new book if you're going to get it. And then some random stuff, affiliate marketing, Google AdWords. Moving to the top shelf, Striking Thoughts by Bruce Lee. Plato's Republic, one of the few historical texts that made it through. Essential Crazy Wisdom is a good little kind of world religion book. Teachings of the Buddha, another one up here. Got Tesla and Edison, good biographies on how innovation actually happens. Tony Robbins, Giant Steps. Tony Robbins is really good. King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, Masculine Archetypes. All men should read this book. Jungian, Carl Jungian Philosophy. Very good. My only fiction on this shelf, Einstein's Dreams, How Time is Perception. Flatland, How Reality is Perception. Both very good, very powerful books. Recommend. Spanish Verb, the Quran. Highly recommend reading right now. With the New Testament, Old Testament got left. I personally like Taoism, Tao Te Ching. Born to Be Good by Dachner Keltner, about how to have a good social life, kind of. Why good things happen to good people. This is a good self-help book, self-development. Walk Your Blues Away, about how walking is really good for you, and walking problems away is good. Breathing lessons. I didn't get too much from this, but this is the only book on the shelf about breathing. Oh, I still have Gilgamesh. World's oldest book unearthed in the last 100 years. Oldest book in the world, gotta have that. Sir Isaac Newton, The Principia. This is the seminal physics text of forever. Although I didn't read this one actually. I need to take a look at it. Gut. Very, very good book about how the human gut works. She Comes First, It Is What It Sounds Like. 5 Things We Cannot Change. Have I even read this one? I have no recommendation. If there's a few of them I haven't read, I guess. Screw It, Let's Do It, Richard Branson. This should be in the biographies. This should be in the business biographies. Confucius, the Analects. Confucius is super wise, still good. And that's my bookshelf right now. So I hope you found that useful. I'll do an update at the end of the year. I've got books coming all the time. It's like $5 for each of these, you know. This is like a $200, $300, maybe $400 or $500 library. It's not that expensive, and these ideas are worth, for me right now, thousands, but eventually tens of thousands, if not millions. So I'm doubling down on my learning. What order should you... I would say start off with the learning books if you want an order on where to go. I would say the first 2 books should be... The first 3 books should be How to Read a Book, Reading with the Right Brain, and Make It Stick. And then from there it's worth going into... Then you're primed yourself, you know how to learn faster and remember things. And then from there you can go in whatever direction you want, whether it's biographies, business, psychology and influence, power, history, religion. I don't have any physical fitness books on this shelf, but I mean, if I would recommend one for that, it would be a textbook. I forget the name of it. American Physical Health textbook, whatever. And yeah, if you have any recommendations of books I haven't read, share them. If you like these books, post them or get them. And I will try to make a accessible book list somewhere on my Free Living Goals website or something like that. So, or 10x Learning. yeah, so see you in the comments. I hope you found this enjoyable. I know it's a longer video, but it was requested and I think it's really good. So, peace. Love you. See you tomorrow. See you in the comments.